Hi everyone, it's Heidi again.
Hi, really quickly, I'm sitting here editing and apparently the wrong microphone connected when I recorded this video, so I sound like crap through the whole thing. I'm so sorry. I apologize in advance. Hopefully you could still enjoy the reaction and not be too distracted. I'm so distracted even editing this, so thank you guys so much for your patience. I'm a professional. Okay, thank you for listening.
I am on a Tim Minchin kick right now. We're watching another one today. We're going to watch Storm. We picked one of the live versions to watch because you guys suggested it. A lot of people like the animated one, so maybe we'll do that later. I don't know. But I'm excited. Tim has a really unique and interesting style and like delivery to his performances, so I am looking forward to it. This one is 10 minutes long. What do we have in store? I don't know. If you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and let's do this.
I think I can speak for contemporary males. I don't know if you guys agree. You know, you get to that.
No shoes again.
To that point in your life, like I think mostly in the early 30s for men anyway, where you start to realize that everything you want to say, everything you want to express in your life can't necessarily be expressed in comedy song.
Uh-oh, is he gonna do it?
You know, and I think it's at this point in your average man's life when he might choose to write a 9-minute beat poem.
I don't know exactly what this is about, but I just, again, I love his kind of timid, really, I don't know, antsy persona, like when he's introducing a song. I just love it. I think it's funny, and like, you know, he's saying something that might offend people. That's the vibe that I get. Anyway, here we go.
This is a 9-minute beat poem. It's called Storm.
Oh, it's just gonna be talking.
Inner North London, top floor flat, all white walls, white carpet, white cat, rice paper partitions, modern art and ambition. The host's a physician, bright bloke, has his own practice. His girlfriend's an actress, an old mate of ours from home, and they're always great fun, so to dinner we've come.
Okay.
The fifth guest is an unknown. The hosts have just thrown us together for a favour because this girl's just arrived from Australia and she's moved to North London and she's a sister of someone or has some connection. As we make introductions, I'm struck by her beauty. She's irrefutably fair with dark eyes and dark hair. But as she sits, I admit I'm a little bit wary because I noticed the tip of the wing of a fairy tattooed on that popular area just above the derriere, and when she says, "I'm Sagittarian," I confess a pigeonhole starts to form and is immediately filled with pigeon when she says her name is Storm. Conversation is initially bright and light-hearted, but it's not long before Storm gets started. You can't know anything. Knowledge is merely opinion. She opines over her Cabernet Sauvignon vis-a-vis some unhippily empirical comment made by me. Not a good start, I think. We're only on pre-dinner drinks, and across the room my wife widens her eyes, silently begs me, be nice. A matrimonial warning not worth ignoring, so I resist the urge to ask Storm whether knowledge is so loose weave of a morning when deciding whether to leave her apartment by the front door or the window on her second floor. The food is delicious, and Storm, whilst avoiding all meat, happily sits and eats as the good doctor, slightly pissedly, holds court on some anachronistic aspect of medical history when Storm suddenly insists, but the human body is a mystery. Science just falls in a hole when it tries to explain the nature of the soul. My hostess throws me a glance. She, like my wife, knows there's a chance I'll be off on one of my rare but fun rants, but I shan't. My lips are sealed. I just want to enjoy the meal. And although Storm is starting to get my goat, I have no intention of rocking the boat. Although it's becoming a bit of a wrestle because, like her meteorological namesake, Storm has no such concerns for our vessel.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm loving this so far. I love how he started to take a drink and then he's like, but that was such a good little like addition. I don't know. I just love that. That was cute. But I'm very interested to see where this is going. Rare but fun rant. It's good.
Pharmaceutical companies are the enemy. They promote drug dependency at the cost of the natural remedies that all our bodies need. They are immoral and driven by greed. Why take drugs when herbs can solve it? Why use chemicals when homeopathic solvents can resolve it? I think it's time we all return to live with natural medical alternatives. And try as I like, a small crack appears in my diplomacy dike. By definition, I begin, alternative medicine, I continue, has either not been proved to work or been proved not to work. Do you know what they call alternative medicine that's been proved to work? Medicine. So you don't believe in any natural remedies? On the contrary, Storm, actually, before we came to tea, I took a remedy derived from the bark of a willow tree. A painkiller that's virtually side effect free. It's got a weird name. Darling, what was it again? Masprin? Oh yeah, aspirin, which I paid about $1 for down at the local drugstore. The debate briefly abates as my hosts collect plates. But when they return with desserts, Storm pertly asserts, Shakespeare said it first. There are more things in heaven and earth than exist in your philosophy. Science is just how we're trained to look at reality. It doesn't explain love or spirituality. How does science explain psychics, auras, the afterlife, the power of prayer? I'm becoming aware that I'm staring. I'm like a rabbit suddenly trapped in the blinding headlights of vacuous crap. Maybe it's the Hamlet she just misquaffed, or the 6th glass of wine I just quaffed, but my diplomacy dike groans, and the asshole held back by its stones can be held back no more. Look, Storm, sorry, I don't mean to bore you, but there's no such thing as an aura. Reading auras is like reading minds, or tea leaves, or star signs, or meridian lines. These people aren't plying a skill. They're either lying or mentally ill. Same goes for people who claim to hear God's demands, and spiritual healers who think they've got magic hands. By the way, why do we think it's okay for people to pretend they can talk to the dead? Isn't that totally fucked in the head, lying to some crying woman whose child has died and telling you you're in touch with the other side? I think that is fundamentally sick. Do we need to clarify here that there's no such thing as a psychic? What are we, fucking two? Do we actually think that Horton heard a who? Do we still believe that Santa brings us gifts, that Michael Jackson didn't have facelifts? Are we still so stunned by circus tricks that we think the dead would want to talk to pricks like John Edward? Storm, to her credit, despite my derision, keeps firing off cliches with startling precision, like a sniper using bollocks for ammunition. You're so sure of your position, but you're just closed-minded. I think you'll find that your faith in science and tests is just as blind as the faith of any fundamentalist. Wow, that's a good point. Let me think for a bit. Oh wait, my mistake, that's absolute bullshit. Science.
Okay, wait a second. Oh my goodness. All right, where do I start? First of all, I didn't know that aspirin came from a tree. I don't know where most medicines come from. I don't know if I really care, but it's very interesting to learn about. The points that he's making are really pretty good. They're funny. I'm with him for the most part. I think there's one thing in my life right now that I'm like, I don't know what this is about. I don't know how to explain it, but it seems to work. So I have a 10-month-old baby, and she was having a hard time teething. We were constantly giving her medicine, and she was just gnawing on everything, having such a hard time. But then we got one of those little amber necklaces. I'm just saying, I don't expect anybody to do it or think that it does anything, but I swear it's made a difference. I don't know why. This just reminds me of that. My husband is one of those where it's like, it's total hokum. And I'm just like, I don't know, but our baby's way less fussy, so whatever. Anyway, this is really funny. Some of his lines are just like, oh, perfect. Okay, we're gonna continue now. I've been talking enough, but I had to like stop for a second, collect myself.
Science adjusts its views based on what's observed. Faith is the
Oh, why is it adjusting the volume? There we go.
Oh wait, my mistake, that's absolute bullshit. Science adjusts its views based on what's observed. Faith is the denial of observation so that belief can be preserved. If you show me that, say, homeopathy works, then I will change my mind. I will spin on a fucking dime. I'll be as embarrassed as hell, but I will run through the streets yelling, it's a miracle! Take physics and bin it! Water has memory, and whilst its memory of a long-lost drop of onion juice seems infinite, it somehow forgets all the poo it's had in it. You show me that it works and how it works, and when when I've recovered from the shock, I will take a compass and carve fancy that on the side of my cock. Everyone's just staring now, but I'm pretty pissed and I've dug this far down, so
I forgot that this is a setting in a party where there are like multiple people. That's so good. Everyone's staring now. I forgot about that.
Everyone's just staring now, but I'm pretty pissed and I've dug this far down, so I figure, in for a penny, in for a pound. Life is full of mysteries, yeah, but there are answers out there, and they won't be found by people sitting around looking serious and saying, isn't life mysterious? Let's sit here and hope. Let's call up the fucking Pope. Let's go watch Oprah interview Deepak Chopra. If you want to watch telly, you should watch Scooby-Doo. That show was so cool because every time there was a church with a ghoul or a ghost in a school, they looked beneath the mask, and what was inside? Oh, a fucking janitor or the dude who ran the water slide. Because throughout history, every mystery ever solved has turned out to be not magic. Does the idea that there might be knowledge frighten you? Does the idea that one afternoon on Wikipedia might enlighten you frighten you? Does the notion that there might not be a supernatural so blow your hippie noodle that you'd rather just stand in the fog of your inability to Google? Isn't this enough? Just this world?
Oh, I kind of love that.
Just this beautiful, complex, wonderfully unfathomable natural world? How does it so fail to hold our attention that we have to diminish it with the invention of cheap man-made myths and monsters?
Wow.
If you're so into your Shakespeare, lend me your ear. To gild refined gold, to paint the lily, to throw perfume on the violet, is just fucking silly. Or something like that. Or what about Satchmo? I'll see trees of green, red roses too. And fine, if you wish to glorify Krishna and Vishnu in a post-colonial, condescending, bottled up and labelled kind of way, then whatever, that's okay. But here's what gives me a hard on. I am a tiny, insignificant, ignorant bit of carbon. I have one life.
I thought it was going to say bitch. Bit of carbon. Got it.
Insignificant, ignorant bit of carbon. I have one life, and it is short and unimportant. But thanks to recent scientific advances, I get to live twice as long as my great uncles and aunts. Twice as long to live this life of mine. Twice as long to love this wife of mine. Cute. Twice as many years of friends and wine, of sharing curries and getting shitty at good-looking hippies with fairies on their spines and butterflies on their titties.
The wife. I love he's done this several times. I just love how he keeps doing this. I'm gonna take a drink, but he's like, nah, I got more shit to say. I just love that little detail.
And if perchance I have offended, think but this and all is mended. We'd as well be 10 minutes back in time for all the chance you'll change your mind.
Oh, wow. Okay. That was an interesting way to end it. Oh my gosh, okay. That was the first time that we've reacted to, I call it stand-up poetry, but it's beat poetry. I don't think I knew that until today. I've always said that George Carlin is a poet, like he's a stand-up poet. Tim Minchin, obviously, as well. Something that I am just immediately impressed by, and I thought of this in the first 10 seconds he started talking and starting his poem, is that he has this whole thing memorized. I know that I have all of Bohemian Rhapsody memorized, and like it's possible, but it's just so impressive. He just talked very specifically for 10 whole minutes. Maybe 10 minutes is really short when it comes to the beat poetry community or industry or whatever, but I have not had a lot of experience watching beat poetry, so it is really cool to see. I really loved how it started as this like really awkward, really funny and silly and kind of controversial, heated situation, and then it tapered off as this really like beautiful and introspective perspective on life. Isn't this enough? I really really loved that. That was very beautiful because it is true. Like, why are we distracting ourselves from what is right here around us? That is just lovely. And yeah, it's a thing where human beings are terrified to not know something. They're scared of it. That's why we come up with all of these, oh, well, it must be this. There must be a ghost in this house because why else would that have fallen? Why is it that big of a deal? I really liked the line that he said, and I'm going to butcher it, that science changes based on what we see. Faith basically is ignoring any changes so that it can be preserved. That is so true. And it's interesting because, at least based on my experience in religion, when something does change, it's actually kind of a big deal and it's kind of a faith shaker. If God supposedly has wanted it to be this way for so long, and then all of a sudden that's changed, and now there's something new. I mean, this is why I left the Mormon church initially. This is what started my journey, I guess. Is like, why are we defending something that could just very well change in the future? And who knows, maybe that's science as well. But it was something that I couldn't really live with anymore. So instead of being excited, like in science, if there's a new discovery, it is awesome. It's like, oh my gosh, we know something new. We could change our old knowledge to progress on this planet. But when it comes to faith and religion, things like that are not as welcomed. If something changes or isn't the same as it used to be, it's questionable now. It's, why wasn't it like that before? And that must be really hard for people trying to keep that up. I liked his perspective. I thought it was kind of refreshing. This world is beautiful. Yeah, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but there's a lot of it. Anyway, I was expecting this to be a song. That was a pleasant surprise. Thank you for recommending this video to me. That was cool. And I understood this one a lot better than his good book one. I felt so bad. Anyway, thank you for giving me new perspectives all the time, letting me share my perspective. I really, really appreciate you guys. Let me know what else I should be watching. Let me know what you think of this video too, or anything that I said. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.